Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to FPL Don't Panic. Morning coffee. The sun is shining in Ireland. You guys are a lot of you around the world, particularly in the across Europe and England, are baking. We are not baking in Ireland, but at least it stopped raining. Yeah, hey. Did a video the other day. Thank you, a bunch of new subscribers. I must be doing something right at the moment. I really appreciate everyone that's decided to sign in and come on board with the FPL Don't Panic 25-26 program. But yeah, last video I did talk about the case for the cheap defence. It's a pretty easy case to make, to be honest with you. You sort of looked at the numbers and what it enabled you to do around the midfield and the attacking areas. How to make a case for the premium defence. But I'm going to try. Put this team together. Used pricing again from FPL Team. I think some of this pricing for the defenders is probably reasonably accurate. There's a lot to be said. I mean, it is quite exciting when you look at your team if it's going out. And in the case this case here, I've gone with Frimpong, Eight Nori, Munoz on the bench for this one, and have Brantwaite in there for a stronger fixture. So just having that one defender to rotate on some of those harder fixtures. And it is pretty exciting. You look at your team, think, crikey, I've got 11 players out there, all with whole potential. I'm tempted. I'd be lying if I said I'm not tempted, particularly just looking at maybe some of those earlier fixtures where you want to get off to a good start. I mean, and on that, because I like my numbers. I like to look at what other teams are doing in those upper echelons, how they achieved what they did. And what's apparent to me is getting off to that strong start. See, I'm making a case for the premium defence here. This is what I'm doing. A case for the premium defence. Getting off to that strong start is really important. And there is a real mixed bag of fixtures this time, and we're all going to be trying to find good rotations so we can actually get some decent fixtures. But it's a real mixed bag. No one has what you'd call that sea of green in front of them. There's a bit of green there. They might have Leeds one week, but then they're away to Liverpool the next. That's not it. But you know what I mean. It is that sort of a fixture schedule. So getting off to that strong start is going to be tougher than ever. But as I look at the numbers of the top teams, just scribbled a few down here. Number one in the world at game week 4. I've just done this for them all. Game week 4, he was at 2.5 million. That's roughly where I was. I think I did have a big drop. Yeah, it was around that sort of 5-6. I dropped right down to about 2.5 million. But then he was up to by game week 7, 407k. By game week 10, 7.5k, and then pretty soon after that, it was it's getting that strong start. Number 2 in the world, 613k, 8k, 239, and staying that top 3 or 400 for the rest of the season. Game week 4, third place, 670k, 26k, 40k. And again, stayed right in those upper echelons right until the death. And number 4 in the world, 48k, 649k, and then 50k. And fifth in the world, 765, 285, and 443 by game week 10. And again, was always in that sort of top 4, 5, 600 for the rest of the season. Now, do I think any of us are going to win it? Well, I'm going to try. That's what we're here for, isn't it? Are we going to win it? Absolutely not. Of course not. 11.5 million players. But we are, and again, it comes, are you playing for your mini league or are you playing for rank? And if you're playing for rank, and trying to get up as high and hit that top 50k, that's kind of where I want to be, top 50k this year, with a bit of an eye on seeing if I can get into that top 10k. Getting that strong start's important. And actually looking at this now, I didn't think I'd be able to make a case. I think there is a little bit of a case to be made, maybe for the opening fixtures to go with it. Just based around City's fixtures. Everton got that nice rotation there with Everton, who have got some decent fixtures, and we know Everton can keep a clean sheet. Frimpong, I really rate him. He's going to be a lock-in anyways, even if I don't go the full premium pack. But Frimpong will be a lock-in for me. But it does mean you're cutting corners in other parts of the team. But it actually doesn't look that bad at the start of the season, funnily enough, this time round. And we might want to get off it eventually, and hopefully we have the 5 rolling transfers again. So maybe we could start out maybe with something like this, build up a few transfers, and then when we sort of see a nice, nice sea of green fixtures, see which of the 4.5s, 5s are coming through. Some of these numbers I'm going to give you off the top of my head, and I will do a more deeper analysis on this when we've got the real pricing. It's just to try and stuff into a spreadsheet and doing all that analysis. It's going to be, I'll be doubling the work because I'll almost be taking another look at this in a couple of weeks' time. But last year, okay, so we have to cut corners. If we cut the corners on the goalkeeper, the pricing to do this, I think Henderson is probably a really good bet. He only finished 4.5 keeper last year, and he only finished 20 points behind the top keeper. That's an average of a half a point a game. So that half point may be going into a defender that's more likely, it's obviously going to have that much higher ceiling, that might get that goal in a 1-0 win and suddenly come with that 15 or 16 pointer. If you get 1 in 5 in those, that really pushes your averages up. And that would mean having a non-playing goalkeeper on the bench. So, pick your poison, but try and pick one that everyone else isn't buying if you do go with a 4 million non-playing keeper, because eventually people will start selling him and that value will drop and you start to lose team value. And believe you me, trying to gather team value in that first 5 to 10 games of the season will really set you up for the rest of the season. So yeah, Frimpong, 6 million they've got him at. I think that's probably going to be about right. We've got 8 Nori. And I've got Munaz on the bench there. When that 11 goes out, I mean, you have literally got 10 players there. And if you count Henderson, who can save a penalty, but let's go with the outfield players. You've got 10 players there with whole potential if you pitch the right ones. Obviously, we know that Salah has the whole potential, and we need to have a Salah or a Haaland. We're going sort of leaning towards Salah at the moment. That may change. We'll talk more about that further down the line. Johnson, some good fixtures. I mean, these are nice opening fixtures if you do go this path, and then Spurs do have some nice fixtures. I think Johnson, my feeling is he'll be a lock-in, but we'll see on that. But we know that he can get goals, and there's some good fixtures there. And he's a bit of a flat track bully. So really good opening fixtures there. Verts, really just like the look of him. And then Rodgers, good fixtures, and we know that the lad can get goals. But we have been forced there by putting that money into that defence of going with those 6.5, having 2 6.5-ish type midfielders, or will a 5 million one arise as it has done the last 2 seasons? Palmer, I don't think we'll ever see a 5 million Palmer again with what he did 2 seasons ago. And of course, who did we have? Yeah, well, it was Rodgers last year, and he's a lock-in in that Villa side. So again, the other thing we want in those opening days, those opening games, are locked-in players. So we hopefully at least start with a baseline of 22 points. You get your 22 points, just need 5 players to return. All of a sudden, my target is always get towards that 70. It should be ticking towards that 70 points area, especially if you get your captaincy right. That's kind of when we want to be hitting those opening games. All of a sudden, we're sort of already falling off a little bit. It's recoverable, but far easier to get into and get ourselves locked in that first 5, 6, 7 games in that sort of top 1 million at the very, very worst. Again, up front though, have to make sacrifices. There was never going to be an Isaac Haaland, was there? But there's not even an Isaac Watkins. Wizard, I picked it very, very well for me last year. But again, I think if we go this path, I think it's going to be about getting off those 6.5, 7.5 million forwards, get on and off them based on form. The Watkins, once again, was very consistent last year. What's he going to come in at this year? 9 or 10, I guess. Didn't have a particularly good season. But if you look, and again, I said I will look at this in more detail. But Isaac was number 1. Wood was number 2. I think Isaac and Wood were on just over 200 points, and I think it was Watkins on about 187. Now the thing with that is what you've got to think about when you go with these premium defenders. You're losing, and again the midfielders as well. Rodgers was about 150 points, as was Johnson. Your top scoring defender, 157 points. And it was Gavardio, and Gavardio won't be doing that again this year. And and then the drop off. So it's Gavardio. He had Trent. No defender basically over 200 points, and then the drop off. You were dropping down to Milenkovic was a great pick. He was about fourth. That's what we want. We want Milenkovic is coming in with about 140 points, and they aren't actually that far away from your Gvardiol's that are costing a 1.5 million more. It's getting that balancing act right. I personally, I think further into the season, I could well start out with something like this for those opening fixtures because they're not bad, but sacrifices have to be made. Um, but it is quite exciting, isn't it? When you see that 11 going out, and you've got a Frimpong, and 8 Nori, and Munoz, who basically plays as an attacker, and if they're on really good fixtures, and you think the Hawk could come from anywhere. And as I said, you just need 5 players. If you've got 11 starters, you're looking at 5 players returning. If you've got 2 or 3 of those from your midfield, from your defence, and hopefully a striker cracking over the 10, you quickly, you get your captaincy right, you're quickly ticking towards that 70-point mark, especially when they get a few bonus points, etc. You see that bench is pretty light, apart from Munoz, who is classed as a premium now. Branthwaite, we would expect, would normally be on the bench. So basically, I've got a playing 4.5 million defender, probably a non-playing, hopefully a 4 million, find a 4 million playing defender, and I've had to go with bloody Casado for as a 5 million guaranteed, pretty much guaranteed playing midfielder. Now, hopefully, something better will emerge, but again, that is where the sacrifices are made if you're pumping your money into the defence. Now, we don't have the real pricing yet. This picture will change slightly. I'll do a more accurate analysis of these types of drafts when we actually get the accurate pricing, hopefully within the next week or two. But it's some food for thought, isn't it? It's some food for thought. I do love having, who's the other? Yeah, there's a few. I haven't even spoken about Gabriel. Saka's back. That was it. Saka's back. Gabriel was going great. Cat. Saka was going great guns. Was going absolutely great guns last year. Getting the attacking returns, and the not the usual regular Arsenal clean sheets, but we all had him, and then Saka got his injury, and Gabriel's main food for goals was Saka's corners, and they lost that lost its potency. So Gabriel has to come into this conversation again, absolutely. But he'll be coming in, as I say. I just can't think the sacrifices are too great if you go for sort of 3 sort of 6 million type defenders. Pedro Porro was yeah. There's a host of them. These would be my 3 favourites. Frimpong, 8 Nori, and Munoz, because Munoz I think will just be that little bit cheaper, and it means that the team itself doesn't look too bad, because if you take another $500,000 out of this, it really does start to look a little bit ropey, or you're going to have a non-existent bench. That's it. Just food for thought at this point. As I said, just getting a bunch of new subscribers on at the moment, so I really hope these early pre-season chats are useful. Let me know if there's anything else you'd like me to do. I'm obviously doing this based around my own team, but if there's anything in particular that you're interested for me to cover, please do let me know. I think the next one I might do, don't call me mad, a non-Salah Haaland draft. I've been having a little play with it. It looks spectacular. Have fun. Play your own game. Don't panic. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.